Hello and welcome back, everybody. Today we have an 07.5 Ram 2500 with a 6.7 Cummins, and the water pump is leaking. So I'm going to show you how to replace that with a new one. Alright, to do the water pump, first thing you need to do is take the cap off the rad and then drain the coolant. On these, it's nice, there's a drain right here, so you just take some pliers, grab the tab that is there, and turn it counterclockwise, and it'll pop out. Well, not pop out, it'll thread out. And then the coolant should come out of this little drain here and into a clean pail. Alright, like that. So now we let that drain into a pail, and then I'll show you where to go from there. Alright, so first thing to get in there, you gotta take the air box out. So there is a 10mm nut here on this stud. You loosen off this clamp, it's an 8mm or a flathead screwdriver. Then there is a plug here for the barometric pressure sensor. There's a tab on the back of it right there that you push in and pull down. And there's also a plug right here for the mass airflow. Same deal, you push that in and pull down. Sometimes there's a little red tab here that you gotta hook with a screwdriver, pull it back, and then you can release it. So you set the harness aside, just tuck it in there, pull this out, give it a twist, and it'll come right out of here. Then set this aside for now. At the bottom of the air box, there's just 2 or 3 little spiky things that stab down into rubber grommets. So you're basically just popping it off of those. So you just give it a pull. Try not to get your fingers. Like that. And that comes out. Okay, so you can see the water pump down in there. It is the smooth pulley. To get the cert belt off, I have this tool here. It's from Gear Wrench. It's a cert belt tool. So it has your sockets, your arbor adapter, some crow's foot, and it has the extension, which I already have on the vehicle, going into the tensioner. Now to release the tensioner on a Cummins, you pull up. Rotate the tensioner, then you can take the belt, pop it off, and then release the tensioner. So the tool just goes into the slot on the tensioner right there. And then this is what it looks like. So it has your extension here for more leverage, and then this is slotted inside, so you can put it at 12 points. You can put it wherever you need to adjust to, and then this end ratchets. So if you need to go clockwise or counterclockwise, all you do is you pop it out, flip it around, put it in the other end, or in the other side, and then it goes the other way. Now for the sake of the video, I'm going to pull the alternator out so we can see down in there better. And I also took the bolt out of the fan shroud, so you can kind of push it back a little bit. It's just soft rubber, so it'll bend. You probably don't need to do all that, but for clarity of filming, I'm going to take that off. So getting the alternator out, you have to undo the ground cables. So there's one. There's the other one. They're both 13mm. And then to get at And then to get the bolts out, there's one 15 mil there, and one right there. To get at the bottom one, you have to take the cert belt off because it runs behind it. So we'll get that bolt out and move the alternator out of our way, and we can see the water pump. So we got our alternator set back out of the way, and now we can see the water pump. So down at the bottom, it is damp down there. Down at the bottom, you can see that little lip coming out. That is a weep hole, and that's where these Cummins water pumps are notorious for leaking. So they're pretty easy to do. There's just the one bolt there and the one bolt right there. They're both 10 millimeter bolts, and then you give the water pump a little tap and it'll pop right out. So out of all the diesels, these are probably the simplest to do. And again, the 5.9 is pretty much the exact same. There's just a little bit less you have to take off on the 5.9s. So we'll get those bolts taken out and get the old pump out. There we go. So there's just a little better view of that weep hole. So what that is so it doesn't leak out the front of the pump. There's a weep hole, so if the pump starts to leak, it'll just come out of here and run down instead of going out the front and getting on your cert belt and everything. So we got the old one out, now it's time to put the new one in. But first we just got to clean up the scale that's built up on there. You just take a razor blade or a Scotch-Brite pad, or even a little piece of sandpaper. Just make sure you don't get a bunch of grit in the water pump hole. So let's get that cleaned up and get the new pump mounted in. So I like to put a little skim of silicone on the new gasket just in case there's any pitting or anything on the engine block, so then it'll get a good seal. So the new water pump's all bolted in. So now we got to put the cert belt on, put the alternator back in place, and put the air intake back on. Alright, so we got the new water pump in, we got the cert belt back on. Now when you're putting the belts back on, you just got to make sure that the belt is in the grooves it's supposed to be. If you have the belt riding up on one of the pulleys, it's not going to fit, and you'll wear out the belt. You'll start shredding it. So now we got to put the airbox back in, and yeah, put the battery cables back on, and the water pump is done. There, it's all back together. Intake is in, air filter's in. Now don't forget, you have to close the drain plug on the rad. Go underneath and close it, and then coolant is still clean, then you can reuse it, but if it's not, then you might as well put new in. Then before we're done, we're gonna hook the batteries back up and then fill it up with coolant, and away we go. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.